All right, we're going to continue here with the next question on CFA 5.6 and 5.7 here. Question 3, this is more of a real life problem here. We've got a flower planter below that has no top and it's sitting on the ground. It measures 8 inches wide by 10 inches long and it is 8 inches tall. So this is a flower planter where they plant flowers and they've given us the dimensions. So the first thing, just labeling this, we know it's 10 inches long, it says. We'll go 10 inches long, 8 inches wide, so 8 inches wide here, and then it's also 8 inches tall. Again, so writing in those dimensions here, it's just 10 by 8 by 8. So we've labeled the measurements, so we have them on here. Okay, so it's 10 by 8 by 8, and I think I'll just kind of go over here off to the side and write that. The length equals 10, the width equals 8, and the height equals 8 in this case. Okay, so we're going to go down here next and we're going to draw nets just so we can see it a little bit better to help us find the surface area of this rectangular prism. We'll make sure we have those labeled there, and let's go down and we'll take a look. Got some graph paper here. Okay, we're going to use this to represent this planter. Okay, and we'll go ahead and start it here. I'm going to try and get it centered up so we can get it all to fit in here. Remember, this planter does not have a top on it. Okay, so we don't have to worry about the surface of the top. So really, I should only have 5 sides when I'm drawing my net because I don't have to draw that top because that's where you'd be planting the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to try and center this up here. And we'll start about right here. Should get us close here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and draw. I like to draw the bottom first of this planter. Okay, and I know the bottom dimension is 10 by 8 for that bottom. And you guys can be looking up top back on yours. You can't see it on here, but it's 10 by 8. So I'm going to go over 10 and down 8. And you guys can be drawing this with me. Okay, and double checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so it's 10 by 8. Again, paying attention to detail there. Okay, and that would be the very bottom. Okay, and I'm going to open up this, and I know it has 2 sides. And the 2 sides, if you look back, are 8 by 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By 8, there's squares there. Okay, if I'm just unfolding that thing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've unfolded. Here's the bottom. Here's the 2 sides. And I know also the front and the back they were 10 by 8 like the bottom. So I can go up 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And go ahead and make over 10. Get that back that you couldn't see on that planter, and here's the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, paying attention to detail there. 8 by 10. All right, so there are my 5 faces. Now, if I did have a top, I'd draw that off to the side, remember, but there is no top, so I don't have to draw it. So I just need to find the surface area of this whole planter. Maybe if I was going to paint it or something, how much paint would I need to be able to cover all of this? Different reasons why you might need to know the surface area here. Okay, so I could use this net to help me, or I could do it a more abstract way. So for example, I know this is 10 by 8, so there's 80 square units in there. And I think when we look back there, this planter, they were in inches. So that's 80 square inches. So I know this would be the same. This is also 10 by 8. This is 10 by 8. And I know the 2 sides are 8 by 8, which is 64. All right, so basically all I have to do now, these nets help me. I can add all these up, and I know how much the area to cover all of these. Okay, so I'm going to do it in steps here. I'm going to do 80 times 3 because there's 3 of them that are 80. And I know that's 240. And then I have the 2 64s are my other 2. And 64 and 64 is 128. So I should just be able to take 240 plus 168. 128. 64 plus 64 was 128. And if I add that up, I get 368. And down below, you can't see it on mine, but you guys can be writing it down below. It asks you what is the surface area. So you could write in 368 square inches to cover this. This would be my surface area, and they abbreviate that with an S and an A, capital letters. And so there's 368 square inches in there. Now, some of you guys know when doing this, we could be a little bit more abstract and make sure you keep this stuff written. But we can also do this without drawing the net. Okay, and I want to show you how to do that a little bit too. But again, I'll pause the video if you need it. You guys are drawing the nets here and just kind of showing some of my thinking there of how I can use that net to help me. But we also can do this a little more abstractly. So again, I'll pause the video if we need to, and then we'll go ahead and take a look here. I'm going to scroll back up to that other picture, okay, and take a look how we can do it a little bit more abstractly. Okay, so if I'm just looking up here, okay, and I know there's a top and a bottom and the sides and the front and the back, and I know I've labeled it 10 inches by 8 inches wide by 8 inches tall, I could just say, well, the front, let's do front and back. Okay, I can look at these 6 faces, and remember I don't need the top, so we're only looking at 5 faces, but the front is 10 by 8. If that's 8, that's 8. So the front would be 80. And I know the back has to be the same, even though I can't see it. So there's 80 square inches on the back. And then I also know, I'll just put BOT for the bottom. And the bottom also is 10 by 8. So you could see it is also 80, because it's the same as the front and the back. And then I can look at I'll just put an L and an R for the left and the right side. For these 2 sides, I know the sides are 8 by 8, so that's 64. And that side is the same, because opposites have to be the same in a rectangular prism, so it's also 64. Again, I could just add all those up, and I get 368 square inches. Just like I did below with the net just helps me see it a little bit better. But a lot of time you can just label front, back, top, bottom, left, right, if you need to get all 6 faces. And you can do it a little more abstractly than needing those nets. So there's multiple ways to think about this. So make sure you have this stuff written down, and this is the kind of things you have to know regarding surface area for your test.